What's going on, everyone? My name is Dudo and I'm the Goalie Gear Snob, and today we're going to be doing the review of the True Catalyst Nitro Pro pad, glove, and blocker. So let's dive into it now. Perfect. I just want to give a huge thanks out to Catherine over at LaFay, Dave and Dason over at True for helping me get this set. So I was able to actually order the set towards the end of 2025 in preparation for the launch in 2026. So I received this set in the middle of February in 2026. And at this point, I've had it in my possession for about 5 months. So this is not necessarily like an unboxing. It's not like a full-length review. It's just kind of like my thoughts after using the gear for the last half of the season with the Dallas Stars and now a little bit into the summer. So before I talk about my custom set, I am going to talk about the big changes in the gear. And the first big change that you're going to see on the pads is flat knee rolls. And then you're going to see a harder face along with those flat knee rolls. The next biggest change is going to be the PCS toe bridge, which I will show some in-depth video of. And of course, the final change is going to be that adjustable knee stack. So yes, that knee stack has a special little strap on the inside that help you adjust the tension on the inside of the knee block. It's still a two-piece, but it's going to feel a little bit more traditional depending on how you strap it. So let's dive into the review, talk about my custom set, and talk about all those big spec changes on the new Nitro Pro set. So as you can see right there, it is a gorgeous looking set. I can't wait to show it off, so let's start with the blocker first. So if you've watched my warm-up videos, you have seen me tease this set in the background. You've seen it sitting on the shelf, and I did just want to say there's a pretty big hint. There's a lot more gear sitting over there that you'll see me review throughout the summer. So this is the Nitro Pro blocker. I did all camel with bronze weave accents across the graphic, and I am a huge fan of how this entire set looks, how it came out. I think the bronze weave accents are just, it just makes the set, gives it so much more depth and gives it some shape to it, so I really like this. But just going over the specs, we're going to be looking at the 615 blocker. You can tell it's a 615 because it has this little notch and cutout right here. The main difference between the 595 and the 615 is you're going to get a more rigid sidewall. So you can actually see the small little shadow right here of how stiff this sidewall actually is. And because of that stiffer sidewall, it causes you to kind of have to need that cutout right there. So that's just how you can quickly tell if it's a 595 or a 615. But this blocker is pretty much stock minus one big change to it, and that is a smaller hand. I did the medium size hand palm here. You can't actually do the intermediate or the small palm on the 615 with OPTIANGLE. It's just a weird spec change they have there. But I did the medium palm, and it's pretty decent in the overall size. I wish it was a little bit tighter. Kind of fits like a 13.5-inch player glove if you've ever worn that before, kind of in between those sizes. That's the big major change other than it being a stock 615 blocker. And yes, I did OPTIANGLE on the inside. Just want to show it off here. You can see that extra little pad between the board and between the palm here, and it really does help drive rebounds out further. So the whole idea of OPTIANGLE is being able to present the blocker more towards the shooter, more towards the puck. So it's actually helping you kind of center up the board towards the puck, and then it helps it redirect it to the corner. And I can personally attest that I've had some great rebounds pop off of this. I've been a huge fan of this blocker. The rebounds, the pop, having this OPTIANGLE here, I mean, it's just worked out really well for me. The big negative with this blocker is that it's a little bit more old school. It's not the lightest blocker on the market. It's kind of on the heavier side of things, and just the way that this is constructed, it gets soaking wet, and no matter what I do, it just feels so heavy on the hand. I'm not sure if there's any, like, the camera can pick it up, but I have some oxidization and sweat that's kind of collecting across the inside here. And it's just one of those things where I wish it was just a little bit lighter. I wish it kind of didn't absorb as much sweat, or the hand is a little bit more breathable. It's just still, it's very hot. So that's my biggest negative when it comes to the blocker. But in terms of the performance, it does exactly what it's designed to do, and I feel very confident in it. And I'm a huge fan of this 615 here. Now that I've talked about the blocker, I want to talk about the glove. So this is my Catalyst Nitro Pro glove. Same colorway as before with the full camel the little bit of bronze weave accents, and you didn't necessarily get to see it on the blocker because there's no lace zone, but I did metallic gold or antique gold lacing throughout. I think kind of added into that retro feel. I know a lot of people always do black, brown, whatever, but I just really like the full camel look. I think the antique gold matches a little bit better. Doesn't stand out as much as black, so I really like the colorway I did here. Before I talk about some of the mods and things like that, I just want to talk about why I like that 600. There's a lot of other gloves behind me that are either 600s, and I have a few 590s that are still up there. The 600 has been the way to go for me. I find that the glove just has like the perfect closure, the perfect angle for me to be able to rotate my hand down or rotate my hand up, and it feels the most natural with stick handling. So I know that the 600 is kind of like not necessarily hated, you just don't see it a lot at the retail level, but I'm a huge fan of this. So looking at the closure, this is where we're at. It's a little bit more upright than a standard shadow or whatever. It kind of feels like it's closing a little bit more upright. I'm sure some people would say that this looks like a 580, but trust me, it is a 600. We have the tag on the inside that tells you that. If you look at the palm protection, we have the Game Ready Extra. You can also tell it has the extra protection because it does not have the sew lines running through right here. It's just that solid extra pad. So I found that the Game Ready Extra works extremely well for me using with the stars. I've never really felt any stingers, never really caught it in here. I know some people might like that Pro Palm, but I've used this glove for so many injury skates and practices where I just eat pucks into the hand, into the palm, and I've never felt that I've had issues with this. So if you're ever deciding between a Game Ready Extra or Pro, I'm going to be honest, I would go Game Ready Extra. I think the Pro would just be a little bit too heavy. That's leading to my first negative with this glove. Just like the blocker, it's a little bit heavier, so it just absorbs so much sweat, a little bit more old school. So as I'm starting to wear it, I feel it start to sag down, kind of pull down a little bit. So I'm just not a huge fan of that weight. I wish it was a little bit lighter. I don't necessarily want to sacrifice protection, but I just feel like there could be some things you could do to trim off some of the weight. Another negative with the glove that you may have already noticed is I relaced the pocket between the T's. So I just added in some referee lace across the middle right here, redid this myself. I originally chose to do the antique gold throughout the middle here, but I've always felt that True really pulls their pockets super tight. So I'm constantly trying to jam this pocket out, and no matter what I do, it just still stays very shallow. Never had pucks pop out because of it. Just visually, that presentation looks pretty small. I relaced the pocket just to make it a little bit deeper, and I found that the skate lace here works really well. I still hate the look of double T's, but it helps me catch pucks, so I just deal with it. But that's the biggest negative is with that pocket lacing. Just didn't really love it. The final negative with this glove is that it took me a little bit to break it in. We have a machine over at work at Monkey that basically helps break in baseball gloves. It's something specifically that our baseball guy does to help break in for mail-in gloves, brand new gloves, etc. But I basically use that device to kind of help close this. I rotated between putting my glove in the baseball glove steamer, the skate oven on that machine to really help break it in and get that feel I'm looking for. So it just did take a while for me to kind of get that feel that I was looking for. So it's finally worked in now. This is after 5 months of use, and I am a huge fan of that. Two small little mods I did is huge thanks to Newman over at Monkey who helped me with this. We actually elongated this strap right here. I don't know why that this elastic is always super short, but we basically put elastic on here that would be the length of when the glove is closed. So it just kind of looks like it sits there, a little funky, but when you close the glove, the elastic kind of pulls to where you needs it to go. So we put some new elastic on there and restitched the entire Velcro there for me. So that was another little mod to help everything. So that was another mod that we did try to help the closure. So along with that break-in on the machine, steaming it, putting it in the skate oven, relacing it, redoing this, I had to do a lot of work to get it to feel comfortable, but I'm glad I got it to finally break in. Showing off the internals of the glove, you just undo the backhand here, undo that piece on the inside there, and then we undo this outer piece over here, and then you kind of see how the entire glove will open up. So you basically have your standard strapping system, your traditional wrist strap, you have your traditional straps here and here. Interesting little thing is that they kind of carry the material across the finger, so you can kind of see the SUREGRIP that kind of comes across there. And the small little thing that I had an issue with, and I'll try to explain it the best that I can, but this tiny little pinky loop on the inside right here, the SUREGRIP separated from the backing material. So I actually had to open this all up, and Newman helped me stitch it closed, because every time I was putting my finger in here, the material was rolling. It was very annoying, so I just basically had to fix that. So that was another small little thing I had to do to get this glove to work out well. I don't want to make it seem like I'm just overly complaining about this glove, but once I finally got it broken in, it's worked really well for me. It just took a little bit to get there. The final little thing I did just want to talk about is I really love 600 gloves and how this extra nylon strap hangs down. I think it's just a cool little style point. Now that I've talked about the glove and the blocker, I'm going to talk about the pads. So I'm going to put this down on the shelf and I'm going to grab the light pads. Here's my Catalyst Nitro Pro leg pad, and the size of these pads are 32 plus 2.5. I think that I did, actually probably could have gone a little bit taller on the thigh, but the 2.5 doesn't look, too big for me whatsoever. I really like that extra little length I get out of it. I was going really short in my pads for a long time, realized it was causing a lot of tension on the body, so I started going a little bit taller again, helped alleviate some of that stress, and I really liked doing that here. So looking at the pads, all the main changes of True's line are basically baked in the pads. There wasn't a lot of changes in the glove, so not like I missed them. There just wasn't a lot to really report on, but a lot of the big changes are here on the pad. So the biggest one is having no knee rolls. They're literally just aesthetic. They're literally like not on the pad whatsoever. They just have the stitch line running through. And then you're going to get a really hard face foam on the pads. They only offer like a long rebound option as compared to last year that had a soft rebound. So I really like the harder rebound on these pads. It helps control, move pucks away a lot more. It gives me that confidence I'm looking for. They're definitely not as soft and as flexible as what you would be thinking. I did order this pad a little bit stiffer, but there's not as much torsion compared to last year's Catalyst pad, so it definitely is a little bit stiffer, but I do like that in my pads. Looking at the back of the pad, True did make another modification where they actually shortened the inside length of this calf wrap here, so now it matches the length of the outer one. It does not come down as much. That just helps your foot kind of dig into the ice, helps your stance out a little bit more. So it's not like a giant change, but it's very welcome on True pads. I really like this new calf shape here. You can see how it's very straight on the bottom. It's a little bit different from years past, but I'm a huge fan of that mod. Continuing on to the bottom of the pad, this is their PCS toe bridge, and I'm going to be honest, I do not like it whatsoever. I really wish I could get this taken off of the pad. I have tried opening this up in so many different fashions, putting different foam in there, relacing it, tinkering with it. I just can't get the right feel. And this toe bridge is actually sewn entirely to the back of the pad. So if I wanted to completely remove it, I would have to unstitch the toe binding, unstitch it through the face of the pad, stitch on a new one, close up the toe binding. That's just a lot of extra work for me. So I'm just kind of honestly learning to deal with it. But the premise of this is that when you go to slide into the post, I'll hold the pad the right way. When you go to slide into the post, that this part of the toe bridge will actually slide against it and actually help seal it a little bit more. But this foam, it feels so funky on your feet when you're standing. You really feel it push back. And it just feels a little bit awkward, a little bit weird. So I just don't love it. Like, I get the idea that it works well for reverse, but it slows me personally down, like by feeling the pad on my toes all the time, just in every other movement. So it seems like for one positive, there's a few more negatives, at least in my opinion. I go with skate lace across the inside and I run it all the way to the outside edge, just so that when I finally drop down, I still keep the knot there to kind of help get that slack I need. But when I go to stand up, it kind of pulls the pad, so I pulls my foot back center into the leg channel here. I've always found that people always offset their toe ties. They use a lot of slack. They always have the issue where they're standing straight and the pad twists off their leg. I think a lot of it has to do with that toe bridge setup. So I always run this to the outside and it kind of helps pull it back in a little bit more. So it's something that I've learned, so maybe you should try it if you're having that issue. So I've done my best to already start opening up the knee block here. So I removed the knee lander, kind of, unvelcroed it, unvelcroed the top flap here, and then I'm going to unvelcro the bottom flap here as well. And what this does is it actually will let you open up the entire knee wing. A lot of Velcro, I'm sorry. Open up the entire knee wing, and there's a small strap in here that's actually, you can see that Velcro right there, and it's stitched in all the way to the inside edge of the pad. And basically, the tighter you make this, the more stable the knee block is going to be. And if you were to like loosen this up, like if I just back it up, for example, and then start to pull it through, it makes the knee block very flexible, very loose. So if you like that more traditional old school kind of feel, that's the way to go. But I like these to feel a little bit stiffer, so I'm going to pull this like as tight as I can, and that stiffens up the knee block a little bit more. So it's a little bit more of a unique feature, but I'm going to be honest, I don't know many people that would need to loosen this up. I feel like it's just good in a stock tight setting. So if you really like a loose old school knee block, that could be the way to go, but I honestly don't necessarily love it. So I just pulled it nice and tight when I got the pads, and I haven't honestly undone that or even looked at it until filming this video. I've always kept it nice and tight, so I've been a huge fan of it. But to close everything up, you just pull this Velcro back over, and then the one that's underneath, you start to wrap it back under, close it off, and then just close off that knee lander right there, and that's the adjustable knee stack. Looking at the outside edge of the pad, I did want to talk about two modifications that I've done. The first one being is that I kept the recessed removable L-shaped knee wing, but I have heavily trimmed it and kind of like done my own little style to it. So I heavily shortened it, and instead of it being that L shape that sticks out so much, I tried to trim it just so it is the length of the outer knee Velcro. So I kind of put it right there, and that's what it looks like when it's all closed off. Instead of it coming, all the way, so instead of me lacing it all the way to like its shortest point, I actually just poked some extra holes and tried to shorten it a little bit. And this is really just because I felt that it stuck off really far across my knee. So I just basically want to try to shorten it up a little bit more there. So that's a little mod that I did. The other one is I removed a lot of the Velcro on the outer calf rack. You can still see a little bit of a remnant of it right here, but I do not strap down to the calf. I always go across the knee. So I just always felt that it cleaned up the look of the pad a whole bunch more. So I just removed that Velcro across the outside. I just think it looks a lot cleaner now. So small little mod, but it works pretty well for me, and I'm a big fan of it. Going over the pros and the cons of this pad, I really like the rebounds. I really like the stiffness of the pad. I did do a slightly stiffer boot, but I like the stock stiffness of the face. I'm a really big fan of that, and it worked out really well for me. Great slide, great mobility, super simple strapping. They've worked out very well for me. One of the biggest things that helped me get that extra mobility I was looking for is I did a thin mid stiff thigh, which is what you're going to see right here. This is basically the thigh that was on the sample Scott Wedgwood PX3s that I had, almost 3 years ago now. This was something that they were going to come out with that was going to be stock on all PX3s, but they found on that pad it was a little bit too thin and flimsy. So they actually put out the stock thigh that you see now, which kind of has this like slow progression, and then it thins out halfway up the thigh. But this is what Bennington has been using for a really long time. Basically, he's had it since the PX3. Once I saw that the option came back out, I just knew I had to try it. It heavily thins out that thigh rise. It allows me to get a great overlap in the pad, so I don't mind that extra little half-inch difference or that extra half-inch of length up there, because it's so thin. It helps me overlap just when I need to. So this has really aided in my mobility. Also, I did not want to try the Fast Glide material. I just always hated whenever you do that different color material across the face of the pad, so I didn't want to do white or black. I want to keep it solid, and I have had no issues getting a good slide on this pad whatsoever. I've never felt that I needed more. They really stiffened up the foams on the inside edge of the pad to help kind of slam down to the ice and slide over it a little bit more. So once they made those changes, I was very confident keeping the solid material and getting the slide that I was looking for. Going over some final thoughts on the gear here. I've had a great time using this gear over the last 5 months. I used it heavily through stars practices, injury skates with my friends, things like that. And I was really able to test the different levels of shots on it. I've always had great mobility, great seal. I've always had good rebounds off the blocker. The glove finally broke into what I was looking for. And I would call this set like one of the most reliable sets that I have. Like all three pieces do exactly as they're designed to do, where, you know, I'm stopping pucks, sealing well, my mobility is up. Honestly, I'm a really big fan of it. The craftsmanship is pretty solid coming from North America. I mean, don't get me wrong, like it's not perfect. Like I talked about the glove being laced a little bit tighter, some weird material starting to peel off. I'm getting a little bit of wear on the top inside the edge of the thigh rise, and it could even be for me going the extra half inch on the pad, but like there are some wrinkles on the pads, there's some ripples on the pads. Like they're not perfect. You can tell it's made by a person, and I think some people like that and some people hate it, but I'm not going to be the one to preach that, you know, you need to have North American made gear. As like I said, it just listed a few problems I had with it. But overall, it's been really nice to, if I ever had an issue at the factory, contact LaFay, and then they've been able to help answer me. So it's nice being able to talk to a person, know the people that are building the gear. So take that as you will. But, you know, I just had a really good time, you know, using that pad so far and enjoying that craftsmanship. So I definitely wouldn't say this was like my most favorite set I've ever used. It's definitely not the worst I've ever used. It's just kind of like the most reliable. Also, the camel goes with every single, you know, colorway, every single style, every single pant combination I wear. It just looks really good with it. So it is one of those like, this kind of works in any use scenarios. So I really like using that set for that reason. So if you are shopping the True Catalyst Nitro gear, reminder, there is the Nitro Pro, which is made in North America. Then you have the Nitro, which is the overseas version of that pad. It's basically the exact same materials that are shipped overseas and manufactured overseas. And then you have the 7X and the 5X, the 7X6 and the 5X6, which are the lower price points. So I do plan on trying to do some reviews in the future on that senior level gear just to see how well it holds up. But for now, I'm using the Nitro Pro, and I'm a huge fan of it. And I think this is one of the most reliable sets that I have, and I've really enjoyed using it. So I'd like you guys to comment down below and let me know your thoughts, let me know your questions, let me know what you think about the graphic I went with on the True Catalyst Nitro Pro set. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you have any questions about mods or specs? Just comment down below and let me know what you're thinking. Of course, please share this video out to our friends. That'll greatly help grow the channel, and I really appreciate you guys watching along here. My name is Dudo, and I'm the Goalie Gear Snob, and I can't wait to go over more gear reviews this summer.